You're also working as a consultant with other wineries. Tell us about some of the other wineries you're working with.
Yeah, for example, I work with Charlotte, the Italian wine ambassador, with Giuseppe. Giuseppe is from Adrano. Adrano is in west part of Mount Etna. They invest in Adrano area, so it's a beautiful spot because the old vines is more than 1,000 meter above sea level, and they call the winery Nebbia Nera. They produce the first label of Alicante. Our first vintage won 2024. Is beautiful because the Alicante grapes is typical from west side of Etna. Comparison the north, we have Nerello Mascalese. West side of Etna is no inside denomination of Etna DOC, but there is a lot of history in the west side.
Fascinating people with stories to share, fabulous wines and the best local foods to accompany them, and beautiful places to discover and visit. All of this and more on Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast. Join me for a new episode every Tuesday. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today we travel to Sicily, to the slopes of Mount Etna, to meet my guest and friend Alessandro Serughetti, consultant winemaker and owner of his own winery, Alessandro Serughetti, on Etna, which he and his wife Loredana began fairly recently. I've met Alessandro over the past years at the 5-Star Wines competition that takes place just before Vinitaly each year. And this year it was a real pleasure to be on the same panel together. And it's great to be meeting you here again today, Alessandro. Welcome. Many thanks for being our guest. And how are you?
Thank you, Mark, to invite me for Italian One Podcast. I'm very well. Today in Etna is a cloudy day, but was really warm summer in Sicily.
I hear Etna's been very active lately. Is that right?
Yes. In the last 2 weeks, it was really active. Not explosion. Was like a river of lava. Really nice to see, to enjoy, to go up to Etna, up until 3,000 meters above sea level, to enjoy the view of the lava river, and also around Etna.
You know, that makes most of us feel a little bit frightened to think there's a river of lava that could flow down. But when you're on Etna, and people that I've met and work and live on Etna, they see Etna as a friend, really, and not as something to be frightened of. Is that right?
Yes. For us, Etna is like we call like Mamma Etna. Infatti, in dialect, in Sicilian dialect, we call Ida. Ida means lei, she, Mamma Etna, Mama of Etna. So for us, we look every day Etna because she give energy for us, good energy to enjoy the day, but also for the nature of the island is beautiful because when there is some eruption, the ash come to the soil, give more richness to the soil, no, for the vines, for the wines. So we don't scare. We're really happy to enjoy the island and the Etna area.
Okay. In fact, I can remember once I was on Etna. It was just before Taormina Gourmet. Etna was erupting quite a lot, and that day we went to Taormina, which is quite a distance from where we had been. We had been in Lingua Glossa, and it was raining black grit quite a lot. You know, it was almost like a black snow, and a fair bit gathered all over on the terraces and on the roads and on the cars and in our hair. It was quite something. I've never experienced anything like it. But for you, that's quite normal.
Yes. For us, it's like normal, and we really enjoy to stay around Etna, really, for the good energy from the Etna.
Okay. And that energy, of course, goes into your wines, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Exactly.
Alessandro, we've met a number of times over the past years in Verona at 5-Star Wines. That's a really beautiful experience, isn't it? And what I like about it is that we're on small panels of judges, and we all come from different places and different backgrounds. This year, for example, There was you, a winemaker from Sicily, Alan, our panel chair from Hong Kong, Jessica, who runs the Commonwealth Wine School in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm a wine writer working in England. And we all brought our own different perspectives to this beautiful large number of Italian wines that we were tasting from all over Italy. It's a great event, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I think it's really very important and inspiring experience because for me it's not only wine competition but also a meeting for professionals from all over the world. So you said Alan from Hong Kong, Jessica from Massachusetts, you from England. So we have a different background because we have winemaker, journalist, master of wine, journalist, wine communicator, wine master of sommelier. So it's super beautiful to share the table with our different background. It's really inspiring experience, you know. Every year for me, I really enjoy to stay inside this competition. 5 star.
Yes, for me too. And I thought what was particularly interesting was that although we had our very, very different backgrounds, we were really very similar in terms of, our assessments of the wines. Our marks were generally, we would mark individually and then discuss, and we were very close,
Yes.
even though we were coming from different backgrounds. So I hope to see you there again, Alessandro, if
Me
we
too.
don't meet before then. Alessandro, before we talk about your current projects and your own winery, tell us a little bit about your own background, how you became a winemaker, and your own story, because I know you've traveled all around the world.
Yes, I was born in Palermo. So Palermo is still in Sicily, but in west side of Sicily. After my high school, I started my bachelor degree in viticulture and enology in University of Palermo in Marsala. It's a really very important place for Sicilia wine history. And after my bachelor degree, I'm started to do my master in University of Turin, a Master of Science in Viticulture and Enology, where I did my first year in Turin, second year I did in University of Lisbon in Portugal. So when I was in Portugal, I sent also my CV in some different winery. So during the summer, I did the harvest in Douro Valley in Newport with
Okay.
Dirk Newport. Was a super nice experience to work with them. After my second years in Portugal, I did my master thesis in New Zealand, in Marlborough region, about Sauvignon Blanc. Was a really nice experience because I work with plant food research in New Zealand. They super amazing team because the team come from all the world. So New Zealand is super beautiful country. And after New Zealand, I said, okay, I'm at the other side of the world. I can send my CV in other country. So I went also in Australia to do a harvest in Western Australia in Margaret River. And I worked with Vasse Felix Winery with Virginia Wilcock. She was a super powerful woman. I really enjoy the harvest with them. And then I went also in South Africa, in Stellenbosch. I work with Thai Bosch Winery with Skalk. And then after this experience, I come back to Italy. I said, before to go in Sicily, I want to try a new harvest. So I send my CV in Tuscany and I work with Frescobaldi family in was 2017, yes, and I work in Castello Nipozzano.
Oh, in the Rufina. Wow.
Yeah, Chianti Rufina, yes.
That's an amazing amount of traveling and amazing places and experience you gathered because you're still very young now, although you've working as a consultant for some time now. But that took you all over the world. And also, what's interesting to me, Alessandro, is that you began in Marsala, this town, as you say, which is very famous and important in Italian wine, in Italian history,
Yes.
too, for the Marsala wine, this beautiful oxidized, fortified wine, and you continued fortified winemaking in the Douro, I guess, or at least seeing the different stages of the grapes harvested in the Douro Valley to become the Newport port wines, and then worked on white wines, a Sauvignon Blanc in New
New
Zealand, and
Zealand.
whites and reds in Australia and South Africa. So you've had a very broad range of styles of wine as well as places.
Yeah, these experiences were fundamental for me because they helped me understand different climates, different grapes variety, different approach to a making style. So every country have different history, different tradition. So I try to take from everyone some piece of tradition. When I come back to Sicily, I try every year during harvest to take this piece in my wine, but also where I do consulting.
Okay, that's really interesting that it's not just the styles of wine, but the different approaches that you found in all of these different wine regions and countries. But then you decided you was it always your intention then to return to your home, to return to Sicily?
Yes, my Sicily is my home. Is I have my family here, so I always have the idea to come back in Sicily, but more strong than before because I prefer to study, to learn from outside, and then I said one day I have to come back in my Sicily to have to do something really strong for my region.
Okay, and you're doing that now because you're working as a consultant winemaker for a number of properties, not just on Etna, is that right? You work around the island?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about some of your projects that you're working on.
Yes, so in Etna, I'm starting my project in 2022 with my wife. We bought a bunch the old vines Alberello of Nerello Mascalese, planting in 1960 with Nerello Mascalese grapes. So with my wife, we start our first vintage in 2022. And then I started the first wines with Etna Rosato, then Etna Rosso, and we finish in 2024 with Etna Bianco with 100% Caricante. The Etna Rosato was our first vintage. The name we call Luna Buona, means like good moon. It's like to say the good luck for our first vintage. And then Etna Rosso we call Venturo. Venturo we dedicate the label our son Andrea because Venturo means what will be. So for the project of the future, the label is the bracelet when is born my son.
Oh,
The
wonderful. Wow.
bracelet of the hospital. So the label is 360 degree around the label.
Oh, amazing. Wow.
I have to send to you
Yeah.
some picture.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you're now making an Etna Bianco as well. Is that from different vineyards or the same vineyard?
No, it's the same vineyard because we have three different terrazzas. So from the first one we produce Etna Rosato, in the second terrazzas we produce Caricante, and the last one we produce Etna Rosso. Caricante, the first vintage, was 2024, and we call Alba Abisso. Alba means sunrise, Abisso means deep in the ocean. So when we taste in the glass, it's like first light of the morning. So with the first sensation that we feel in the glass. But after 5 minutes, we go deep in the glass, like deep in the ocean, no? So we call Alba Bisso for emotion, no? And for me, the wine is emotion. Every glass that we tasting is emotion because we tell different territory.
I love this, and I love the names and how much thought you've given to the names, and I imagine the labels themselves. Is Loredana involved in this? She's a sommelier, is that correct?
Yes, she's a sommelier. She work about hospitality. When we met in 2019, she worked with other winery about hospitality. and then from 2022 we start our project. But I want to tell you something really funny, because in 2022 we married, but we didn't buy the house. We prefer to buy the vineyard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's I can see why. Yes, that's really funny. Yeah. Yeah. So you're living amongst the vines now? No, you live on the east of the mountain and the vines are in the north, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. We live in
Right.
Giarre. Giarre
Okay.
is between Taormina, Catania. Is in east part of Etna.
Okay. The area for the Caricante then.
Yes, exactly. Milo, where there is denomination Etna Bianco Superiore.
Okay. So Alessandro, you're working with very old vines then. What do these old vines give to your wines?
I think the old vines have the roof really deep in the soil, so touch different eruption along the history. I think give also in the grapes different sapidity, minerality, more strong, powerful comparison the young wines. Also, the old vines have low yields, so it's more concentration. I think all the wines can give super high quality wines.
Are the old vines as well a little bit more resilient to the high temperatures and climate change that we've experienced in recent years?
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. The old vines need, I think, many help, because they already know the experience about temperature along the year. We can say like that.
Okay, okay. So, Alessandro, your winery is quite small still, is that right?
Yes, yes. I'm producing total 4,000 bottles, so
Okay,
I'm really small winery, but I want to improve every year. Depends, of course, the vintage. For example, the 2023 was really hard vintage, but the idea was to grow.
okay. And you're also working as a consultant with other wineries. Tell us about some of the other people you were working with, the other wineries you were working with, and where they are.
Yeah, for example, I work with Charlotte, you know her, Charlotte Italian wine ambassador with Giuseppe. They investment, because Giuseppe is from Adrano. Adrano is in west part of Mount Etna. They to invest in Adrano area, so it's a beautiful spot because the old vines is more than 1,000 meter above sea level, and they call the winery Nebbia Nera. They produce the first label of Alicante. Our first vintage won 2024. 25 also we do the second vintage. It's beautiful because the Alicante grapes is typical from west side of Etna. Comparison the north, we have Nerello Mascalese. West side of Etna is no inside denomination of Etna DOC, but there is a lot of history in the west side.
This is really fascinating, and I'm glad that you've mentioned this project. I wanted to learn more about it because Charlotte has just told me about the project. Charlotte, who is, as you say, an Italian wine ambassador who I've known and met in Verona, and it's very exciting that she and Giuseppe are now have their own wine project. But as you say, it's interesting that it's on the west side of Etna because we know Etna is many wine regions within this huge, broad volcano. But we think mainly of the north with the reds, the east with the great white Etna Bianco, and then around the south as well. But the west we hear less about, and to have old Alicante vines at over 1,000 meters sounds like a very exciting project. That must be fun to work with.
Yes, yes, because they also investment to other variety in Monte Turchio in west side of Etna. They planting also Caricante in 2025, and this year's also Riesling.
Oh my, wow.
Beautiful, because we work in high altitude in Western Slope.
Yeah, and actually Caricante and Riesling can have similarities, both high acid varieties that have a great capacity to evolve into white wines of complexity and wonderful richness.
Exactly. So we looking forward to start making some experiment to understand Caricante Riesling how will be.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah,
know because it's
amazing.
still a
Yeah.
young vine, so we will see.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to taste the wines, either with you or with Charlotte.
But Alicante is beautiful because it's old vines. It's really powerful wines.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to this. It's a very exciting project and inspiring for Italian wine ambassadors. A lot of us work in wine, we write about wine, but we don't necessarily have our own vineyard. So it's a really exciting story. Alessandro, you also work with other wineries in Sicily. Tell us about some of your other projects.
Yes, I work also with SRC Vini. So we are in north side of Etna. A family is Rori Parasiliti. The winery is located in Calderara Contrada, and we work with different contrade in north slope of Etna, including Rivaggi, Crasà, and also we have a single vineyard in Milo. The name of the contrada is Rinazzo area, where we produce the Etna Bianco Superiore. It's beautiful because we work the same variety in different contrada of Etna. So we experiment the same variety in different area of Etna. The different will be altitude. The difference is also the soil, because every soil have a different history about eruption. Also, I work with Tenuta Ferrata. The family is Virlinzi family, and we are in Castiglione di Sicilia. We work with Caricante and Nerlo Mascalese grapes in three different contrade of Etna: Moscamento, Caristia, and Fossa San Marco.
Alessandro, can you explain for our listeners the contrada system? Because it's a little bit confusing for people who don't know Etna, but it's very, very important. There are a large number of contrade, aren't there? These single areas, if not vineyards, single areas all around the Etna wine zones.
Absolutely. Allora, Etna area is divided in the macro area, is the north side, east side, southeast, and southwest side of Etna. North side of Etna, which in particular I work, have micro area. The micro area we call contrade. Each contrada have different history about altitude, about eruption, and so we call contrade. The contrade have different explain of history about eruption, altitude, temperature, exposure. So the same variety, Nerello Mascalese and Caricante, can be different between one contrada to other contrada. It's incredible because it's a small area.
Can you give some examples, for example, of how Nerello Mascalese in one contrada will express it differently than a Nerello Mascalese Etna Rosso from another contrada? Just an
Yes.
example for, and maybe also for Caricante.
Yes, for example, with SRC we made Nerello Mascalese in Barbabecchi area, Contrada, is more than 900 meter above sea level. Comparison of the Nerello Mascalese from Crasa, it's 700 meter above sea level. So the difference is between the altitude and also the soil, because the Barbabecchi is more sandy soil, and Crasa it's more rock stone soil.
And how are the wines different?
The wine is different because Barbabecchi is more high altitude, is more powerful, more elegance. I can say the comparison of the Crasa, it's more fruitiness, young
Hmm.
fresh wines, for example. But Barbabecchi 900 meter above sea level is more powerful longevity wines. But Etna Rosso is a wine that have good potential for aging, of course. But depends the contrade, we can have different style.
Okay, that's important. And I think our listeners will see different contrade on labels when they're encountering Etna wines. And it's important to understand how it really
Yes.
gives an individuality to wines from different areas and different micro areas.
Yeah. And the beautiful also to do consulting, Mark, because I work also in Southeast. So from volcanic soil to pass to limestone soil, so super white soil close to the sea. And I work with Tenuta Vendicari. So we are inside the Vendicari Nature Reserve. Is beautiful because we don't make only wine, we made also extra virgin olive oil, carrots, almond, pomegranates, citrus fruit, for example, lemon, orange. So it's a wonderful example of agricultural biodiversity.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's in the southeast, is that right?
Yeah, southeast between Noto and Pachino in Siracusa province.
Okay, so is that Nero d'Avola and Frappato?
In particular, for Noto is typical Moscato and
Oh, the
Nero d'Avola.
Moscato di Nota. Yes, I've heard of that, but never tasted it. A sweet wine.
We do also dry, it's beautiful dry wines
Okay,
of Moscato. Frappato you find more in Vittoria area where we
okay,
produce the Cerasuolo.
right. Okay, okay. And Noto is a beautiful Baroque city, isn't it?
Exactly. Beautiful to visit, super nice.
Yeah. And Pacchino, is that the famous tomatoes?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, well, let's just turn to gastronomy and tell us a little bit about your wines and how they work so well with the foods of Sicily.
I think wine and gastronomy are inseparable in Sicily. So
Yeah,
they have
I
to walk together every time.
yeah,
So Etna wines have a lot of freshness, minerality, tension. So seafood is beautiful. For example, the pasta with sarde, we call a Palermo sarda alla beccafico. Is the small sardina.
yeah.
Is beautiful. Compare Etna wines with pasta with sarda is beautiful, and of course vegetable cheese. Super nice compare. Yeah.
The pasta con le sarde, that's with the little raisins, the currants, and the pine nuts and wild fennel. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
So those flavors really are enhanced by the Caricante wines. What about the Etna Rosso?
Etna Rosso, I think, is super nice with tuna. Bistecca of tuna will be really nice. But Etna Rosso, we can compare because we live in the mountain. We have in front of Etna the Nebro di Mountain. That typically Nebro di Mountain is wild pig. So we do a lot of dishes with wild pig. It's a black pig, and Etna Rosso is beautiful to compare with some dishes of black pig.
How is the black pig cooked?
We cook in different style. We cook in the oven, we cook in the pan, we do a bistecca, we cook with some vegetable, some potatoes. We do ragu also, pasta with ragu from wild pig. There is really a lot wonderful dishes really with wild pig. You didn't tasting when you come here?
I did taste it, and I
Okay.
remember also, I remember also the very special sausage, the salsiccia from Lingua
Yes,
Glossa.
yes. Salsiccia is beautiful.
Yeah, again, something that pairs very well, maybe with the younger Etna Rosso.
Yes. Yes.
The Rosato wines of Etna are gaining much more attention now, again from Nerello Mascalese. They can be really beautiful too, and very versatile with food. Is that right?
Yes, you can compare also with pizza. The Etna Rosato is super fresh, nice wines, young wines. So you can compare with pizza because now with pizza we do everything. I mean, the pizza we do also with seafood. We do pizza with tartufo. We do pizza simple with classic margherita with mozzarella di bufala. So I think rosé wines you can compare with a lot dishes from white meat to pasta to pizza. It's beautiful.
Okay. Okay. And another food question, Alessandro. You're from Palermo and you're now living on the east of Sicily. For you, is it arancino or arancina? And what shape do you prefer?
Yeah, it's a problem.
I bet it is. Yeah.
So I'm living in Catania now, but every time I said arancina because for me the arancina is female. Here in Catania said arancino, but because we did in Palermo the arancina close to orange, no?
Uh,
It's like orange fruit, no? Here we do
yeah.
like a volcanic arancino, but I call every time arancina, so I'm from
Okay.
Palermo.
Okay. So this, of course, is the rice is famous rice, as you say, a ball, an orange shaped size ball in Palermo, the arancina. But in Palermo, the same rice with the ragu filling. Is that right? The meat and peas.
Yeah, we do different arancini with rice with ragu, or rice with butter and ham, or rice with pistachio, cream of pistachio and pancetta. We do also rice with potato and salsiccia. We do a lot of different kind of arancini, but the tradition is with ragu and butter and ham.
Okay, and then deep fried and eaten hot, just straight out. It's one of my favorite foods and wonderful food to have with a glass of wine.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. Well, Alessandro, final question. I know you work with these wineries you've described, if and as well as your own winery. If our listeners come to Sicily and would like to visit with you, is that possible? And how can they get in touch with you, either to visit some of the wineries you're working with or to visit your own winery?
Yeah, the people can contact to me by Instagram because I have my phone number and also my email. From this year, with my wife, we start a new project that we call Ortum in the countryside in Tagliaborse, close to Giarre, where we live. The idea is to offer the guests a real Sicilian countryside experience connected to wine, food, agriculture. So the people come in our countryside to harvest fresh season vegetable and directly from the land, and then we organize a cooking class. For example, they take from the garden basil, garlic, and all extra virgin oil we have, and they prepare a fresh pesto together.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes,
That's a fabulous opportunity.
and then we share together a meal. We share the table, and we tasting also our wines, Etna Bianco, Etna Rosso, Etna Rosato. And for us, it's not only wine tasting, but it's agriculture and gastronomic culture in the same time.
Oh, I can't think of a better way to experience the wines and the foods and actually just to be able to for people to sit down with you and talk and get to know your land and you as well. So that's a really
Exactly.
wonderful opportunity and I'm certain that our listeners will be wanting to find you and meet you.
Yeah, and we do also small group because we want to follow every time our guest, and we have also a small chicken coop like that the people can take the fresh eggs to cook them immediately and eat in the table.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. I think that's great. I can't wait to visit myself, Alessandro.
I look forward, Mark, to see you.
Okay. Well, Alessandro, thank you so much for being my guest today. It's been a real pleasure meeting up again, learning more about what you do. You know, we didn't have a lot of time to talk when we were judging so many wines every day, but it's really great to hear about all your projects. Very exciting, the estates you're working with, and also your own project and your own hospitality project. So I really will look forward to visiting you. And I know both Italian wine ambassadors will be visiting as well as our listeners from all over the world. So grazie mille.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, Italia One Podcast. Thank you very much. Grazie.
Grazie e buona giornata.
A te, buona giornata.
We hope today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast has transported you to somewhere special. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.